here Pracinabarhi is getting all this information from Narada. However, he's not understanding anything. So that's where we start today's class. Narada Muni is asking, and Pracinabarhi is asking Narada Muni to explain the story. Who are all these characters and why are you telling me this story? So let's start from here. Okay. Talks between Narada and Barishat. So Pracinabarhi is also called Pracinabarishat. It's just a similar name. So he's asking, he says he's failing to understand the analogy. What does all this mean? And this Narada Muni is explaining to him this character Puranjana is nothing but the living entity or the soul. The city is the body, and the avigyata saka. So we discussed last class that this Puranjan, he dies and he gets a woman's body, and then she marries another person, right? And then that person dies, and then she's crying, and then this beautiful personality, the Lord, comes in to save this lady who has no shelter, and he says he has been with her all the time, but he didn't know, and this is the Lord himself. So the avigyata is the Lord, right? And then we discuss about Puranjani, who Puranjana married, is none other than our intelligence, because we are always trying to reason things with our intelligence and do according to what the intelligence says. Because this body, the hands, legs, we have strength to move, but all the direction comes from our mind and intelligence. So for this Puranjan, he was doing everything his wife was saying. So that means he's just going with his material intelligence. So all these wonderful analogies were explained very well by Narada Muni to Puranjan. To Pracinabarhi. So he describes about the time factor that comes as age. And then he explains that I, me, mine, the conception that of selfish enjoyment is out of ignorance. He explains that. So he then explains that, a person who is not understanding about the Lord and just living a life according to what is happening around him is either doing things in goodness, when you're doing good things for others, you're giving charity and these pious deeds, with those people who are not God conscious, or who are not showing bhakti for Lord, or but they are always in the mode of goodness, they go to heavenly planets. And so their pious deed gets success there. Those who are in passion, who are always working 2 or 3 jobs, laboring all the time, and then those persons, they're born again as humans. In the human life, we know that it's equal amount of suffering and happiness, material happiness, I mean. And then folks who are in ignorance, who are living a miserable life, who are just thinking about eating, sleeping, and all that, they go to the animal kingdom. Then there are different bodies, and this is explained by Narada Muni as a wandering dog. So a dog goes to one house, it gets some nice food the owner gives. In another house, they're booing away the dog or beating the dog, so there's punishment. So Narada Muni is giving this nice analogy that that this repeated life and death is just like the wanderings of a stray dog. So that's why we have to get out of it, and the only way is to surrender to the Lord. And then sometimes we feel, oh, I'm doing so well. I'm doing a business. I made $1 million. But Narada Muni is saying that all that you get by your endeavors here in this material world, it's just like taking the burden from your head and putting it on your shoulder, like the man you see here. So you feel, oh, my head is now free and it's feeling so good. But actually the burden is coming on your shoulder. You make $1 million, people are all going to come and try to get it out of you. You're always trying to protect your $1 million. There's a lot of headaches that comes with any material gifts you can get from this life. So that's why Narada Muni is saying it's like burden is transferred from the head to the shoulder. So the only way is to counteract this is by awakening bhakti, like all of you are wonderfully doing, by surrendering to the Lord. That's the best way, and do everything as a service to the Lord, going to school, studying well so that you can serve the Lord in your life. So you everything you just have to put Krishna in the center and do, and then that's the best way. Is what Narada Muni is explaining. And also hearing is the best form of understanding about the Lord. So drinking Krishna Katha eagerly through ears. So usually you drink with your mouth, but it's said that like a poetical way of saying is you have to drink as the stories of the Lord through your ears, and then you relieve your hunger of thirst and lamentation in this world. So any disturbed soul should cultivate a habit of hearing about the Lord, and all their miseries will go away. In this time and age, we see that people, oh, they lost $1 million. They failed in an exam. They're committing suicide. For those trivial things, there are ups and downs in life, but people just, they're not mentally stable because they're missing their supreme purpose. If they have their foundation in Krishna and surrender to Krishna, they understand that these are ups and downs in life. Nobody should, take the greatest gift that they have got and give it up for such trivial things. So all that Narada Muni is explaining so well to Pracinabarhi, and he tells him about all these sacrifices he was doing is not right. He was killing a lot of animals in the name of pujas and trying to get good benefit out of it. And he's saying all this you have been foolishly doing. With the story, he clearly makes him understand on this concept. And then he tells him about deer analogy. So he's full of examples. He talks about a deer who is living with his family and hearing his wife and his children as if the bees are buzzing over the flowers. So very happy with that. But then suddenly a hunter comes and shoots the deer. So just like death can come at any time, and the deer just wasted its life. So don't live a life of a deer is what Narada Muni is saying. When you have the greatest gift of a human body with the intelligence to think, what should I do with my life? So then Pracinabarhi had a few questions. Oh, what happens after death? Does my karma gets transferred over to the next body? Like all the things I do, will I be able to remember that? And what is the proof of this? So then Narada Muni says that when you die, you lose your gross body. Gross body is meaning what you can touch, feel, taste. That body goes away, but with you comes your mind, body, your mind, intelligence, and ego travels with the soul to the next body. So that's why in certain cases, some people can remember their previous lives because their memory is also coming, but we have forgotten that. But it is possible to revive that. And that's why the subtle body is going with the soul to the next body. So that is clearly explained in these verses by Narada Muni to Pracinabarhi. So that's why the mind is there. That's why, like Narada Muni also says, in your dream, you sometimes see things that you have never seen in this life. That's because those impressions that you've got in previous lives, they are coming in your dream. Because how can you even think about something that you've never saw in your dream in this life? And that is because that's from your previous life, and all that comes back to you in a dream. Um, so then there is suffering when you leave the gross body, and then it is your subtle body is also able to suffer, though your senses are inactive. Just like while you're sleeping, your senses, you don't smell, you don't taste, you don't see, but with your subtle body, you're experiencing certain things, right? So that is mentioned here, that even when you don't have a gross body, you can suffer because of the subtle body present with you. Uh, so that's what happens to people who thinks, oh, I'm just going to commit suicide, kill myself, and then I'll be free from all this misery. But no, since your mind and your mind is going with you, you have even more suffering than you can have when you have your body. So they're all doing a huge mistake by their ignorance, thinking they can get away with things like that. So the world needs this study and to understand that what is the true purpose of life. And that's why today there is a lot of mental health problems and all that. So just imagine if all this wonderful knowledge can get to all these people who are suffering, their mind becomes better and they understand their true purpose, and their life becomes better too. So Pracinabarhi, hearing about all these wonderful stories from Narada Muni, his spiritual master, he then decides to tell the ministers that, hey, my kids, the Pracetas, have gone to do meditation, so they're going to come back soon, and then they will let them rule when they come back. But I'm going to retire and focus only on bhakti, and so that I can go home back to Godhead. My job is done here as king, and so he leaves. So he doesn't even wait for his sons to come back. He's ready to focus on his urgent matter. And then the story switches to the Pracetas. The Pracetas are 10,000 years. They've been praying the prayers that Lord Shiva had given them, and they're under the water. So see, they're underwater, and then the Lord is so happy with their unity among these 10 brothers who are doing so well together, taking care of each other, and just with the few minutes association with the pure devotee Lord Shiva, they got how to pray to the Lord, and they've used that instructions for 10,000 years to pray to the Lord. And then the Lord appears in his eight-handed form, and he's traveling with Garuda. So people say, oh, bird cannot fly underwater, but Garuda is a celestial bird, and he comes under the water and brings the Lord, and they have darshan of the Lord, and they are explaining the Lord's beautiful form, the eight-handed form, and the yellow garment is just like the pollen grains, and then he has a dazzling helmet, and the sages and everybody come because the Lord is very pleased with the Pracetas. And then uh, and then the Lord is very happy with their surrender, and he gives them instructions that they have to marry a girl called Marisa. And Marisa was actually the daughter of an Apsara, Pramlocha, and there was a sage, Kandu. Actually, Kandu was a great sage, and Indra was envious of him. So he got an Apsara, a very beautiful woman from the celestial, the heavenly planet, and told him to. Um, so, sorry. If you can't hear me, don't turn it on. So, yeah. So Maricha married. So the Lord told this Maricha was actually raised by the trees, and the trees god is the moon god. So the moon god actually gave nectar to Maricha's mouth, as you can see here with a finger. And since Apsara, after giving birth to the baby, she had to go back to the heavenly planets, and the sage said, "Oh, I was doing this great penance, and then I got distracted and married this Apsara, and I don't have time for this baby. But this baby was brought up by the trees, and then the Lord is saying, you have to marry this person, Maricha, and they had kids, and it was and Daksha was born again as the son of Maricha and the Pracetas. So then the beautiful Pracetas offer beautiful prayers to the Lord. And, that's, and they say that, even more than the heavenly planets, going to the heavens and enjoying life, even a minute of association with devotees is more important. And they're asking only for the benediction of always being able to hear the Lord's pastime in the association of devotees. So they're very focused devotees, and they are praying to their guru, Lord Shiva, for giving them this wonderful prayer that they were able to pray, and then have the Lord come and bless them. And then the Prachetas came out of water, and they saw the trees had overgrown all over the place. There's no place for agriculture or anything. So they let out the fire from their mouth, as you can see here, to burn down some of the trees so that there is some place for agriculture. And then Lord Brahma comes and says, "Hey, don't overdo it. You can burn a few parts to do agriculture, but now you have to stop." And then they always listen to their seniors, and they do what Brahma says. And then they rule the kingdom for 1,000,000 years, and then they hand over the kingdom to their son Daksha, and go um, they go to meet um, they go and meet Narada Muni, who gives them all the wonderful directions after that. So just like their father was directed, they also get good instructions um, from Narada Muni, and they go back to Godhead. So this is the story of the Prachetas. And then in this story, this is also wrapping up the talks between Vidura and Maitreya. If you remember, Vidura was roaming around. He met Uddhava. Uddhava told him to meet Maitreya. He's hearing all the stories from Maitreya. And at this point, he's saying, "Oh, thank you so much." He has heard all these wonderful stories. And then he decides to go to Hastinapur to help Dhritarashtra come out of his material life and focus on spiritual life. So all this wonderful information he received, he's going to use that to bring Dhritarashtra back in line. So there ends Canto 4. So great work, everyone, for concluding this wonderful canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Now we can do a Kahoot quiz. Ayana says she has to do some homework, but all of you, if you can stay for a few minutes, we can start the Kahoot. So the game pin is 36345. Nitinji, are you joining?
One second, Prabhuji. We can start, Prabhuji.
Okay. Very good. Okay, there are 19 questions. According to Narada Muni, what does Puranjana, city of nine gates, Avigyata Puranjani represent in the allegorical story? Is it body, Krishna, intelligent soul, or soul, body, Krishna, intelligence, Krishna, body, intelligent soul? Oh, all of you, both of you got it right. Excellent work. Okay. Second question. What is the destination for those who live in their life in good passionate? The goodness goes to animal passion, demigod as mode of passion, and then all. Yes. So the correct answer is goodness goes to a demigod or heavenly planets. Passion goes to human or earthly planets, and ignorance, persons who live in ignorance, go to animal kingdom or hellish planets. Okay, third question. Narada Muni compares Dash to a wandering dog getting food or punishment from each house. Krishna, soul, or Jiva? Soul, body. Yes. It is the soul or Jiva that, because the body is only good for one life, but our soul is what goes from body to body, as if the dog is going from house to house. Okay, fourth question. Narada Muni compares Dash to the shifting a burden from head from one body to material activities for removing suffering, all of the above. So it's actually the material activities. So if we say that, hey, I'm going to only focus on making a lot of money in this world, and then it's like when you get the money, it's like moving your burden from your head to your shoulders. You're still carrying the burden. Very good. Okay, Santoshi is on fire. Fifth question. What is the only way to escape from a bad dream? Trying to dream about something good, making up the bad things in the dream, all of the above. So actually, we don't have control of the dream. So this is just like a dream is just like our life, which is full of ups and downs. So the best way to get out of the dream is actually waking up from the dream, and then the bad dream goes away. And the waking up is compared to, coming to the Lord in bhakti. That's waking up. Very good. Sixth question. What is the best way to cultivate bhakti? Hearing about Krishna and the association of devotees, self-study, meditation, charitable activities. Yes. So what we are doing here is the best way to cultivate bhakti. Great job. Narada Muni convinced Pracinabarhi that is animal sacrifices and rituals are not the best practices. True or false? Yes. Convinced. That's why Pracinabarhi left his kingdom and focused, because he was nearing the end of his life, and with with his transformation, he didn't even have to wait for his children to come back. He was focused on the activities that were most important. Okay. Through the story of the deer, Narada Muni convinced Pracinabarhi to focus on Bhakti Yoga, true or false? Very good. Okay. What goes with the soul to the next body? Mind, intelligence, ego, all the above that comes with the subtle body. Yes. The subtle body goes with the person when he leaves the body to another body. Both of you got it right. Excellent. Unseen places and objects in a dream are from previous lives. True or false? Very good. What is the storehouse of thoughts, experiences, and desires? The body, water, yes. Actually, the mind. The soul is so pure, it's a part of God. That's our true self. But this covering of the mind is where we have all these impressions and past history experience. When we go to when we are exposing the whole nature of the soul, we are full of intelligence. We are Satchidananda. We are eternal, full of bliss and full of knowledge. Okay, where did Pracinabarhi and Narada Muni go after their discussion? Hell, heaven, Kapilashrama, Siddhaloka, Rudratirtha, Narada Kunda, Vaikunta, Patala. Yeah. So actually, Pracinabarhi went to Kapila Ashrama to focus on spiritual activities so that when he leaves his body, he can go back home, back to Godhead. And after instructing Narada Muni, after instructing Pracinabarhi, Narada Muni went to Siddhaloka. Sorry, I didn't mention it in the class, so good work guessing. Okay, 13th question. Who was satisfied and appeared before the Pracetas due to their austerities for 10,000 years chanting Rudra Gita? Vishnu, Rudra, Shiva, Brahma, Narada. Yes. Okay. Both of you got it right. Excellent. 9,000 and 6,000 points. 14th question. Dash-handed form of the Lord appeared in front of the Pracetas. Two-handed form, four-handed form. Yes, very good. Eight-handed form of the Lord. Lord was very pleased with the Pracetas due to their handsome appearance, unity of brothers, their wealth, their fame, actually the unity of brothers. So both of you are brothers. The unity among yourself and your service to Lord is going to make him very, very happy with you. Okay, name of the daughter of Apsara, Pramlocha, and Sage Kandu, who was raised by trees and married the Prachetas. Marisha Kalakanya. Very good. Both of you got that right. And Santoshi is in 5 figures now, 12,041. What benediction did the Prachetas ask the Lord? Hearing about the Lord and the association and somewhat of that unflinching fame. Both of you got that right. They just wanted to hear about the Lord in Sadhu Sangha. Second last question. How did the Prachetas remove the overgrowth of trees when they came out of the water? Cutting down, drying them, burning with fire from mouth. Yes, they're very powerful, and they were able to even get fire out of their own mouth. Okay, Nitinji is also in 5 figures now. Last question for today. Where did Vidura leave to after his conversation with Maitreya Rishi? Himalaya, held to take role as the Himaraj. Correct answer is Hastinapur, and both of you got it right. Excellent work. And let's see who is on the podium. Third place, we don't have anyone. Second place, congratulations. And first place goes to have a wonderful Krishna consciousness. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare
Have
Krishna
a wonderful
Prabhuji.
weekend.
Hare Krishna.